皆さんこんにちは。Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm excited to teach you one of the most essential aspects of Japanese grammar, and it's something many of you have requested, the te form. By the end of this video, you will understand the basic of the te form. So grab your notebook and let's get started. First things first, what exactly is the te form? It's one of the verb form in Japanese that ends in te or de. For example, basic form miru, which means to see, becomes mite in the te form. The te form is used for connecting sentences, making requests, asking for permission, and describing ongoing actions and more. Now let's discuss how to form the te form. In this lesson, I will show you how to convert verbs from the dictionary form to the te form by focusing on the verb endings. Converting to the te form varies depending on the verb group. And for clarity, we can break it down into three main groups. Group 1, U-verbs. Group 2, Ru-verbs. And Group 3, Irregular verbs. Each group follows specific rules for conjugating into the te form. Understanding these will help you form the te form correctly. First, Group 1 consists of the verbs that end with u, including ku, gu, su, tsu, nu, hu, mu, and ru. These are known as godan doshi, godan verbs. Each verb endings follows its own specific rule for conjugating into the te form. Let's take a closer look at these rules. For verbs ending in ku, such as kaku, to write, and aruku, to walk. To form the te form, simply drop ku and add ite. For example, kaku becomes kaite, kaite, and aruku becomes aruite, aruite. For verbs ending in gu, such as oyogu, to swim, and nugu, to take off. The process is similar, but this time you drop gu and add ide. For example, oyogu becomes oyoide, oyoide, and nugu becomes nuide, nuide. For verbs ending in su, such as hanasu, to talk, and tamesu, to try, you drop su and add shite. For example, hanasu becomes hanashite, hanashite, and tamesu becomes tameshite, tameshite. For verbs ending in bu, mu, and nu, such as asobu, to play, nomu, to drink, and shinu, to die, the te form is formed by dropping bu, mu, or nu, and adding de. For example, asobu becomes asomde, 遊んで。飲む becomes 飲んで。飲んで。and 死ぬ becomes 死んで。死んで。Lastly, for verbs ending in u, tsu, or ru, such as 歌う to sing, 待つ to wait, and 帰る to return. You drop last u, tsu, or ru and add te. For example, 歌う becomes 歌って。歌って。待つ becomes 待って。待って。and 帰る becomes 帰って。帰って。Next, group 2 consists of Ru-verbs, also called 一段動詞 一段 verbs, which typically end with the ru. However, it's important to note that not all verbs ending in ru are 一段動詞. Some are 五段動詞, as I showed with some examples earlier. Conjugating ru verbs into the te form is straightforward. Simply replace the last ru with te. For example, 食べる which means to eat becomes 食べて。食べて。Similarly, 見る which means to see or to watch becomes 見て。見て。Lastly, group 3 consists of irregular verbs that do not follow standard conjugation rules, so you must be memorized individually. For example, する meaning to do becomes して。して。Similarly, 来る which mean to come becomes 来て。来て。Another common irregular verb, 行く which means to go becomes 行って。行って。Next, let's explore how to use the te form in sentences. There are several ways, so I will show you the most common ones with examples. First up, connecting sentences. The te form allows you to list actions in the order they happened, just like and in English. For example, 休みを取って旅行に行く. This means I take a day off and go on a trip. To form the te form of 取る, you replace the last ru with te, so it becomes 取って。取って。This follows group 1 conjugation. 休みを取って旅行に行く。休みを取って旅行に行く。Another example. 音楽を聴いてリラックスする which means I listen to music and relax. To form the te form of 聞く which is also group 1 verb, you change the last く into いて and it becomes 聞いて。聞いて。音楽を聴いてリラックスする。音楽を聴いてリラックスする。Lastly, 予定を確認して連絡します。Translates to, I will check my schedule and contact you. Here, 確認する turn into 確認して確認して which is irregular verbs. 予定を確認して連絡します。予定を確認して連絡します。Next, let's talk about making requests by editing ください。ください。After a verb in a te form, you can ask someone to do something. Check out this short video for phrases for making requests at different levels of politeness. Take a look at this example. ドアを閉めてください。This means, please close the door. To make the te form of 閉める, which is a group 2 verb, replace the last ru with te, resulting in 閉めて、閉めて。ドアを閉めてください。ドアを閉めてください。Next, ゆっくり話してください。This means, please speak slowly. To form the te form of 話す, which is group 1 verb, replace the last す with して, resulting in 話して、話して。ゆっくり話してください。ゆっくり話してください。Lastly, 来週また来てください。which translate as, please come again next week. The verb, 来る which is irregular verb, change to, 来て、来て in the te form. 来週また来てください。来週また来てください。When you want to ask for permission in Japanese, you can use the verb in a te form and add もいいですか?もいいですか? which translates to may I blah blah or it is okay if I blah blah. For example, ここで写真撮ってもいいですか? which translates to may I take a picture here? In this case, the verb 撮る turn into 撮って、撮って and combine with もいいですか? ここで写真撮ってもいいですか? ここで写真撮ってもいいですか? Another example. アニメを見てもいいですか? which means, is it okay if I watched anime? Here, 見る which is group 2 verb becomes 見て 見て in the te form. アニメを見てもいいですか?アニメを見てもいいですか? Last example. ここに車を駐車してもいいですか? Translates to, may I park the car here? For this, the verb 駐車する which is an irregular verb becomes 駐車して駐車して in the te form. ここに車を駐車してもいいですか? ここに車を駐車してもいいですか? And finally, describing ongoing actions. It is similar to using the ing form in English. This is done by adding います or いる after the tail form of a verb. For example, 本を読んでいます translates to I'm reading a book. Here, the verb 読む, a group 1 verb, is conjugated into the tail form 読んで before adding います。本を読んでいます。本を読んでいます。Another example is 電車を待っています。which means I'm waiting for the train. The verb 待つ also a group 1 verb changes to 待って待って followed by います。電車を待っています。電車を待っています。Last example. 今買い物をしています means I'm shopping now. The verb する which is an irregular verb becomes してして in its tail form and add います。今買い物をしています。今買い物をしています。That's it for today's lesson. Practice the tail form structure and you will find yourself getting more comfortable every day. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for next video. I love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment down below and let me know what you'd like to see in my future video. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for upcoming video. ではまた。